Let's see if this works. I done did a whole live stream. YouTube is not showing y'all that I'm live whatsoever. Let's see if this works. And I woke up this morning, eyes half closed, looked into the mirror and said, damn, I'm cold. Hold on, y'all. Oh, shit. Okay. Finally, a notification went out. What's up? Shout outs to everybody in the building. All one of you at the moment. YouTube will not let me go live on my computer. I'm always having trouble now. For some reason, going live on my computer. So we're going to kick it this way, and hopefully everything is Gucci. Hold on. All right. Put this poll together. Y'all can hit the like button on the way in. Double tap your screen. Give me 1 second to put this poll together. Real quick. All right, we got that. What's going on, Digby? What's going on, Tyler? What's up? Shout outs to y'all. Y'all come on in. Y'all double tap the screen to hit the like button. YouTube not letting me go live from my computer, so we gotta do what we gotta do, y'all. Alright, y'all hit that poll right quick. Let me know something. Who gonna win? Gorillas versus man. Who the hell gonna win? Now my phone not working. Hold on, y'all. Who gonna win? Gorilla versus man. We're gonna talk about some other topics too. But alright, let me see. Can y'all hear me? Who gonna win? Gorilla versus man. Alright, I don't know why I sound like this, but this is what we gonna do. We're gonna talk about some other topics too. Alright, let me see. Can y'all hear me? Alright, we should sound a little bit better. Everything is fucking up today. All right, let's see if it sounds better. Okay. So yeah. Um, please support the show. Hold on. All right, there we go. And this message right quick. So yeah. Um, there was a debate going on, and people were talking about, gorilla versus man, and we talked about it a couple times on the last couple of streams that barely made it onto this platform. And give me 1 second. Stick this mic onto my Let me see. Yeah. So let me do this. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people was like, "Oh man, a gorilla gonna fuck up like 50 niggas before you know a bunch of other people ran away." And it was this shorty. I got a pre-record coming out. It was this shorty. She was talking about it too, and she was like, "Oh, if you think about it, a bunch of men are gonna beat the gorilla, but such and such is gonna happen." Just I don't even know why this woman tried to comment on it and stuff like that. It's funny when you see that. I ain't gonna lie. Skip the guys, in the on the internet talking about it. Go find the women talking about it if y'all want to laugh. As men, if y'all want to laugh and see how out of touch a lot of women are with just the world and physicality and stuff like that, y'all go watch the women's opinion on man versus gorilla and shit like that. Because I was saying on the last couple of shows that if a man got a little bit of prep time, or guys were using their brain power, man, that gorilla is toast, man. If they had weapons, that gorilla is toast. You know, even if they had weapons, though, I conceded that yeah, there's gonna be a couple of little casualties. That gorilla will run after somebody and start swinging another person like a baseball bat. Absolutely. But if you had a tranquilizer gun, if niggas can go up in the tree or some shit, or just kind of stake out a little bit. Oh yeah, of course, man is gonna win. You know, man is gonna win. 100%, 100%. I wanted to talk about a couple of stuff that I saw. I saw Myron. I had it pulled up. I had a whole live stream ready to go, and YouTube found some way to fuck it up. But I had a whole live stream ready to go because I wanted to show you guys Myron. He was literally on Anton Daniels' show, and I wanted to go over that, you know, but everybody can go live on YouTube. But how amazing, everybody can stream up, but Anton Daniels was on not Anton Daniels, Myron Gaines was on Anton Daniels' show, and it was pretty interesting to say the least. He was spitting. You know, I got a lot of stuff I gotta go over, but my equipment and stuff is not working, and this channel is not getting the support that it really needs. You know, um, I wanted to show you guys speaking of Myron, him on the college campuses, he's doing like, college campus debates and stuff like that. And I find it funny, uh, it used to be in America, y'all, that you could go to a college campus and debate with somebody that is ultra smart, you know, very smart to a certain degree, because at one point, you know, college, I wouldn't necessarily say it was in America. I wouldn't say it was necessarily, advanced. Y'all hit the like button on the way in. Support the show via Cash App. That's dollar symbol PTV 888. That's dollar symbol PTV 888. Rule of the game is if I said anything to make you think, definitely don't blink and support the show. Okay? The Mental Chewing Gun Podcast. What I was saying is, at one point in these spaces, um, not even just these spaces, absolutely. I'm going to bring it back to the space that I'm in. But at one point in the world, college kids were very smart, very astute, very well rounded, knew what was going on in the world, and more. It was it's a blessing to be in college. It's a blessing to be super smart and have that opportunity. And not even just be in college. The college students, the kids that were actually in college, they took super advantage of their education, meaning that they were not tired. They were into what the hell they were talking about. They could talk about it well. They can actually, I wouldn't necessarily say teach, because obviously they're a student, but if they were to talk or they were to, debate, the average person, they would be able to articulate their points. They would be able to, have rebuttals, and be able to, hold certain conversations and talk about certain topics, extensively. Real interesting stuff. And in the manosphere, um, that's who a lot of guys and brothers here in the space will be debating. You know, um, at one point it was people that would have been considered the biggest and the brightest. You know what I'm saying? And that is, college educated people from prestigious colleges and different walks of education would be in these spaces and be debating the brothers here. And then we found out something very somewhat, I wouldn't say necessarily disturbing, but very interesting. Found out something super interesting. What we found out was that um, those kids were getting indoctrinated. Those kids were getting indoctrinated. Those kids did not know what the hell they were talking about. What's going on, War Master? Good to see you, man. I've been going through hell the last 24 hours trying to bring you guys some content. I just had to terminate a show that I just did, bro, with Myron. Myron was on Anton Daniels' show, and I wanted to talk about it, but it's just a lot that's been going on within the last 24 hours, man. I went to sleep mad as hell yesterday, but it's okay. I'm waiting on my cyber security certificate. I passed my certifications. I'm waiting on my last one. I got one more exam to take. Y'all pray for me, you know. But shout outs to the legendary War Master in the building. War Master knows exactly where I was going with this line of conversation. Um, Myron was debating a couple of college campus students, and I'm gonna tell you right now, man, that has to be like taking candy from a baby. And getting back to what I was saying earlier is that in the manosphere, modern men had a swift taste of what they were indoctrinating men and women with in college. You know, it turned a lot of the men feminine, especially if they picked the wrong majors or picked the wrong college. You know what I'm saying? Um, and to a certain degree, around that time, it turned a lot of women into stone cold feminists. Turned them dead into stone cold feminists. And it was horrible, because um, women used to be journalists. They used to be, these like astute, very eclectic, advanced young women until you debated them and you realized they did not have they didn't have a clue of what the hell they were talking about. And it started to get annoying. And it started to get annoying the modern man so bad that a man could come home from a regular plumbing job, get on YouTube, and speaking of YouTube, happy 20-year anniversary to YouTube. I remember being 15 and YouTube coming out. I am an old ass nigga officially. Right? Old ass nigga officially. But anyway, it was regular men that would come home from their jobs, whether it was plumbing, whether it was, McDonald's, whatever they were doing. Regular men were coming home and looking in their comment section, right? And they were watching and listening to women go crazy. Just watch them talk crazy on the internet, and not even just talk crazy because they wasn't really talking. They were doing something a little bit more effective at the time. They were writing articles and they were writing hit pieces and just straight up lying in these articles and hit pieces. And every so often, some would include a pre-recorded blog or video at the bottom of these hit pieces. But if you read the hit piece, you didn't really have to look at the vlog unless you wanted to hear how they were saying it. You know, if you were into that type of stuff. But what I was gonna say is, these hit pieces were crazy. That they used to write, and this was back when people read. This was back when people actually read, and reading was a fundamental. Because reading is fun to mental. Then, you know, so right before the internet really, right before social media really start taking off, people wasn't, they wasn't, hard pressed about reading. Reading was actually, a good thing. You get clowned for reading now, which is weird. You get absolutely clowned for reading nowadays. God forbid you know how to read. You know what I'm saying? You know. Let me give y'all some game. The man that knows how to read but doesn't read has no advantage over the man that can't read. Think about it. And it's a lot of goofball, Gen Zers like, oh my God, this person read. This person reads books. Yes. Reading books is good. Reading books is smart. Reading books. I'm like I was wondering the other day. I'm like, why are niggas going in on me for reading? And honestly, the funny part is that I just had a I love books. I read. I have a library. I keep books around me about many different things, not just game or I like self-help books. I actually keep books like I actually got a couple books here that I got, but I actually keep books like, Carl Jung. I got this book I wanted to run by War Master, which is actually very interesting. It's a green and red book. I got it because of one of my friends um at my job at the time. He was telling me to get it because it was a cool book. And this is right before or right as soon as Trump got elected, and we're gonna read it together. You know what I'm saying? He ended up getting the same book, but we both just kind of didn't get to dive into it. But I might go over it and review it because I know it has very interesting conservative thought pieces and views in it. I just got to take the time to sit down and read it. But nonetheless, um, I get clowned for reading in these spaces. And let me tell y'all something. The funny thing about all of this is that I'm getting clowned by guys that can't even hold a conversation. I'm getting clowned by guys that are having a hard time with women. I have to sit back and think about it. I'm like, dang, you know, Gen Z don't even know or have a signature, y'all. Their name, you know, I was even thinking about it the other day too. I started tying so much stuff in. As a man too, your signature is a big thing, because not only do you write checks, but people ain't writing checks nowadays, they're just filling in the box on the internet. But men used to write checks, you know, wealthy men, well-to-do men, men that, got things going on. They write checks. It is, even go look at like Donald Trump's signature. It stands out. I remember I was looking at a podcast, and I'm pretty sure Donald Trump went on that podcast before because there was a big wall behind most of the guys that their guests that was there, and that wall, people signed that wall, and immediately Donald Trump's signature stood out, and I was like, damn, the president went on this show. That's cool, and you automatically knew that. They're not teaching kids how to write cursive anymore, and these kids don't have no damn signature these days. And I'm like, damn, that's very important as a man, to tell you the truth. It's very important for you to have a signature because that's your last name on that piece of paper. That's your last name on that check. That's your last name, you know what I'm saying, on that deed. That's your name. That's your signature. That's your footprint, you know? Younger cats are slow, they're very slow. Like I said, I keep literature around me, to enrich, my life and certain things I got going on. I was like getting clowned, for reading. I'm like, damn, people are fucking dumb, you know. The funny part is I don't even read that much, I definitely don't even read that much as I wish I could, I'm actually mad that I don't read that much. Even back in the day, I never really read too much. I had my stints with certain books and then moved on. You know. But talking to a lot of the guys here, this is what people choose. to hang over your head. God forbid you read books about women. You know, God forbid you arm yourself with knowledge. God forbid, you know, you use your God-given eyes to soak up some wisdom and soak up some knowledge. Now, why am I bringing up reading? Well, I know how to do something, very tactical called multi-threading. You know, it's called multi-threading, where you bring up a subject and then you leave it open, kind of like a loose end, and then you can jump back to it and tie it all into what you got going on. Gives off the illusion of bouncing around. But I assure you, you'll never run out of topics if you learn how to multi-thread, dropping some gems, giving you some game. Now, I brought up reading because we came from a time where reading was a big thing, you know? Reading was a big thing. Books actually sold because people actually read. And when the women of yesteryear were writing, think pieces and hit pieces and you know, articles on men and just lying about, men. There was nobody there really to stand up for men. And honestly, if they did, you know, men's articles wasn't getting read like that, especially if it was in rebuttal to, what women were saying. Women were beating men with overwhelming firepower. They were beating men with overwhelming firepower. That's what they were doing. Men couldn't keep up with, the articles and what was said in a lot of these articles that women were putting out. Y'all please hit the like button on the way in. Support the show. Double tap the screen to hit the like button, please, and support the show. You know, so a lot of men chose to rebuttal against women, and women start bringing up stats. They were lying in the stats. They were fudging the stats and stuff. And it's ironic that, if you go around social media, or if you've been around social media, you've seen this gorilla versus 100 men, debacle. This is kind of just as goofy as women claiming, and these are supposed to be smart women choosing to be in the forest with the bear, because being in the forest with the bear uh makes them feel more safe than being in the forest with a man. God forbid she's at the mercy of a man. That's where their mind jumps to automatically. God forbid, right? How dumb a lot of these women are. Because as a man, we understand and and that's what the book that I have with Carl Jung is talking about. I got other ones, like very advanced books, from him. I'm glad that I took them with me. But the one that I got is talking about, the mindset of modern man. It's him on the front cover is smoking a pipe, you know. But anyway, as a man, you don't have to ask us dumbass questions about being in the forest with a woman or a bear. As a matter of fact, ironically, if a man's in the forest with a woman, she can fuck around and get him killed, to tell you the truth. Because aside from protecting himself, she adds an extra layer to the BS, ironically, if you think about it. You don't have to ask no man no dumbass questions about being in the forest with a damn bear. Because as a man, we automatically assume there's a bear in that fucking forest. You understand what I'm saying? We are more intact with nature than modern women. This is a side effect of success. You know what they say when they say like good times breed weak men and I mean good times breed like good times what they say good times breed weak men and hard times make strong men. Well, it's not necessarily just that. When you have men that have build and success after success after success after success after success and build after build after build after build, and then you started creating an ecosystem, and then you start creating families and stuff like that, and order and law and all kinds of different stuff. Next minute you look up, or your children look up, or modern man and further man that's ahead of many successes and buildings and stuff like that. Look up. You're gonna be in a utopia. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be in a utopia. You know, the greatest invention that man never made is not technology. It's not the cell phone. It's not any of that stuff. You want to know what's the greatest technology man ever made? A wall. That's right. A wall. A wall is the greatest technology man ever made. Building a wall. Separation. I'm on this side, that's on that side. Y'all hit the like button on the way in. Support the show. Hit the like button on the way in and support the show, please. I'm gonna tell y'all some real shit. As always, as I always do. And we're rebranding for the winter. I mean, not I said the winter. Jesus Christ, the summertime, spring and summertime, and we're gonna be doing more video game streams. Stay tuned. Shout outs to War Master. But I'm gonna tell y'all some real shit. Women are fully immersed in the utopia that men have built. They're fully immersed. They've lost themselves in the world that I would say that's built with, built for men and women, but they've fully lost themselves, in the world that men have built with the contributions of women. They fully lost themselves. Now, why would I say that? Well, it used to be men telling women to put lotion on. I mean, it used to be women telling men to put lotion on. It used to be women that necessarily wasn't gatherers and hunters, but they were gatherers. They knew what berries to pick. They had a sense of direction. They had women. You got women back in the day without the help of man that could survive in the wild. They could survive in the wild. Now, if you go look on the internet, I'm not even gonna lie. There's endless shows, endless. It's almost actually funny. If I'm not mistaken, it might become a genre going forward of women in the wild. And the fucked up part is that women have to, they literally. I'm not even lying when I say this. This is how bad it's. I didn't think it got this bad, but they literally have to protect themselves from themselves in the wild. Like a woman will destroy herself in the wild before a bear even gets a chance. You know, out of touch. And even in the wild, to man, women used to be a helpmeet. They knew how to, well, man had to teach them how to cook, but they knew how to cook, get berries, get fruits, know which ones are ripe, know which ones aren't ripe. It was a, you know what I'm saying? It was a, it was it was a natural instinct. Women have a heightened sense of smell, you know. They know how to determine if something's healthy, if it's not, all kinds of different things. Even teaching men about certain things. Now, you got a man that can't even change a tire on a car that's still more realistic than modern women. A lot of modern women like to drink and smoke. Something that women of yesteryear would do, but would turn it down for the most part if it wasn't wine or if it wasn't, so often a woman would smoke, but she would have what's that little thing they used to hold in their hand that would hold the little slim cigarette. They would do that shit. They would have that. It was more of a class thing. It was more of like an elegant affair. Not like she was smoking cigars, but she would have some type of elegance to it. Not anymore. Not anymore. That shit is gone. That shit is gone. Even feminism destroyed that shit. What am I talking about? Well, back in the day with reading, if you read or read and know how to read or read books and understand what you're reading, you got a lot out of those books. Those books transmuted your mind and your brain to a place where you can learn or at least soak up the story, soak up the environment that the author or the state of mind that the author is trying to put you in and bring you into their world so they can, bestow some game upon you. And, what it probably took them a lifetime to learn, you can learn it in a week. Or what it probably took them years to learn, you can learn it in a series of days, depending on how much you read, how into the rhetoric or the rubric or the story or what's being talked about. You know, it was layers to learning. And I remember telling, you know, people to, think before it's illegal. You go look at the world right now, AI technology is taking over. AI before 2020, before 2030, bro, everything's going to be reliant on AI. How crazy is that? How advanced is the world that men have built? How crazy is that? You're too good to think. You're too good to think. You're too good to use your brain. You're too good to come up with, you know, a sound idea, with something that you claim to like, be an expert in. It's gonna cut on three sides. Because one, there's an unbiased side to AI. The person that is actually smart and the person that actually does think would use it in a completely different way for people that don't think. People that don't think are gonna gravitate to it anyway, and then people that do people that do think they have a choice whether to use it or not. But one thing's for certain is that it's gonna be here. And I didn't think this was a real thing until I saw a couple of interviews with a couple of Gen Zs. You got a lot of people that don't have an internal voice. You got a lot of people that don't have an internal voice. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm pretty sure it's bad. Being someone that I believe to think, right? Back in Egypt, right? Kings and queens, they seemed godly like, and not because they were royal, and not because they were kings and queens. Why they seemed godly like was because they were educated in a different way. Most people in Egypt didn't know how to read. As a matter of fact, we did know how to read, probably was considered a witch, i.e., condemned. Interesting. You know, they didn't know how to read, but then again, they did hieroglyphs. Maybe some may even argue Sanskrit, but I don't think that's Egypt. But what I mean by reading is a lot of them did not know that as human beings, and we do this all the time as men, two men can sit in a room and be completely quiet. The same way that they can sit in the jungle on a hunting expedition and be completely quiet and be on the same page. And it's not telepathy, it's not no, Wi Fi or Bluetooth. No, it's not that. That they're on the same page. And yes, it's a metaphor for books. Pretty clever. Um, Egyptians that did or that were learning how to read didn't know that they can read in their head. Nobody has taught them how to do that. As a matter of fact, I wonder when our kids taught how to do that, to think using your mind. What I'm saying is that me and you can sit in a room together, books in hand, or book in hand, and we can read a whole book. We can read a whole book and not say a word and absorb that book and the knowledge that that book has, in our own interpretation, you know, in our own thoughts, cross reference it, with how much life we've lived, and vice versa. Or it could be a whole movie, depending on the book that you're reading and what's going on in that book. As a matter of fact, the reason why I had an interest in reading is because a lot of the stuff, even if it was like an urban fiction book, which actually really got me back into reading, to tell you the truth, before I dive really into self help books and stuff like that. Um, a lot of the stuff that was going on in those books ended up starting to happen in my life.
you know. And when I say urban fiction, it wasn't like, oh, it's like urban fake. No, it was like stuff that could realistically happen with two people, but probably hasn't, or some of it's real, you know. And I credit that. Rest in peace to one of my favorite black authors, Eric Jerome Dickey. Uh, when I picked up reading again, I ain't gonna lie, I would go to the liquor store, go get a. This is before people was drinking it, like drinking it like that. In my age group at the time, I go get a little bottle of Hennessy, like a little bottle of Hennessy or some Remy Martin, right? You know, some brown to calm you down. And I'll probably get something disgusting like orange juice or something like that, and probably mix it, or just a cup and soda or something. I wouldn't drink it straight, honestly. I get some Pepsi or something like that, or rum and coke or something like that. I would sit down and just read the book, fall asleep, damn near. Video game console system on in the background, just playing music that I saved to it. Just set the ambiance, not just for a young lady to come over, but for myself, and it wasn't no big deal. I enjoyed being in my own company. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I got siblings, but I enjoyed being by myself. It was great. I would play all kinds of music. I was collecting a lot of music too at the time. I collected uh I had a record player, and a DJ, right? I had a record player, and I collected my favorite 33s and 45s. I had a lot of stuff. Rest in peace to Mr. Bill, man. He one of my neighbors. He would give me a lot of cassette tapes. I had a cassette tape player, and it was just a deck. It was like a cassette tape player, a radio, and then like on the top it was a record player. You know what I'm saying? From Sony. And I used to collect 33s and 45s. I had a spindle. Um, I would even go to the record store and just start collecting a bunch of records. I had Thriller, Diana Ross. I just had a lot of lot of records and stuff. And one of the records and CDs I would collect from my favorite jazz band from Japan called Hiroshima. You know, I remember it was, I don't know, it was like a snowy day in DC. I don't know what was going on. We were driving somewhere, and I think we were listening to WHUR or something. It's a radio station at the time, and I was just younger. It was way before I started collecting stuff, and they played this song, and it was just beautiful. The woman that was singing and stuff like that, and it was a song that I played on the show many times called "Save Yourself for Me." It's a really beautiful song. Um, Japanese song. I've always been into like Japanese lore. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause let's face it, Japanese people knew what the fuck they were doing in the 70s and in the 80s. To tell you the truth, even to this day. But I'm talking about they got down in the 70s and the 80s. You know, I mean, obviously you go look at American muscle cars versus like the Japanese muscle cars. It's not that impressive, but they look cool. The side mirrors are further down on the hood and stuff like that. It's just just some cool shit. Um, Even to this day, if you go play certain video games that we're gonna be playing on the channel soon, um, games like Persona, uh, games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, and just certain games and stuff like that. Even Metal Gear Solid, certain some of my favorite games. The soundtracks, okay, the soundtracks to all of those games, the OSTs, even of the games of yesteryear, fucking fire. You know, I really wanted to learn music theory in Asia. You know, that's one of my dreams to go to Japan and just learn music theory. As a matter of fact, I collected this instrument that I had to get fixed because I wanted to run it through a synthesizer called the Nagoya harp. And one of the instruments that the jazz band Hiroshima uses is called a koto. It's like a harp, but it's like laying down on the desk, and you can like pluck it, with the strings and stuff like that. Very, very beautiful instrument, the koto. And they used it in their music and stuff like that. Aside from the singer that was singing her ass off, I think I showed it to you guys before. It's called the Nagoya harp. It has keys like a typewriter, and it has strings also. And the keys go down on the string. And when the key is down on the string and you pluck that string, it gives a different sound, you know. So you had to, learn hand independence, really before you start to play an instrument like that. Something that I learned out here a little bit, when playing the piano, to train one hand to play a set of notes and to train another hand to play another set of notes. Real advanced shit. Niggas worried about me reading. Can y'all believe it? I'm like, man, nigga, I done forgot shit. I done forgot better shit than niggas ever thought of. You know, even as a young player, I done did a lot of shit that niggas haven't even began to mentally grasp. Dudes in the space still worried about tricking. Such dummies. You said just say no. Oh my God, one man said, look, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you playing Persona. I didn't know. You know what? You know what happened, man? I can't wait to get the Xbox back. I think I downloaded Persona 4 for Steam from Steam for sure. And I've downloaded I think Persona 4 on the Xbox. I just didn't really get a chance to play it because it was a different speed. Like I really had to sit down and really, take a week out of my day to play it. But the one I want to get you into and you would love it is Persona 5. And they done redid it so many times, Royale. Man, I'm not gonna lie, my girlfriend at the time she had to peel me away from that game. It been days I done sat up and played that game and had to work the next day, and I'm like, man, listen, I'm gonna get you to play Persona 5, War Master, with Joker and everything. It's just that you have to somewhat be into turn-based games because it is pretty turn-based, but it's not really a bother until like you start running into enemies. I think Persona 5 Golden, I think it's called Golden. Um some of those enemies they don't run after you, because some of those enemies you'll be in like certain places. You're supposed to be like a spy sneaking into certain places like banks and certain things, and just a lot of stuff going on. I think I'm mixing it up with another DX. No, no, that's Persona 5. Yeah, you got to go in just like first like I don't know. It's like an alternate universe. You said turn based are weird. Real time. Well, no, it has it mixed in. It's turn based and it's strategy based. You know, and then the storyline is crazy also. I didn't know until I really started playing it. There was this other game that I was playing back in the day on the PS3 called Catherine. That was a crazy game also, where you can choose like a waifu and you start like every time the guy goes to sleep, he gets like transmuted into this world and stuff like that, and like he just like like a whole bunch of shit start going on, and like sheep and all over sheep's all over the place, and people are falling off. Like you got to do like these crazy puzzles. Nah, Persona is not weird. It's, man, listen, you got to get into like the Japanese lore. You already halfway there. That's the funny part, you know. Shout outs to everybody in the building. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button and support the channel as always. Yeah, we're going back in the video game direction and a wrestling direction. You know, we're gonna lay low on this manosphere stuff, honestly. And then also too, I gotta censor myself and clean it up. You know. So welcome to the Mental Chewing Gum Podcast, y'all. We're gonna rock out. Y'all see that Neumann mic, that bubble gum in that brain? Oh yeah, man. Laying paint where it ain't doing what others can't, man. Welcome to the show. Make sure y'all double tap the screen to like the show. If you guys are, enjoying these words and the content that, I'm dropping at the moment. I don't know why YouTube won't let me stream on my computer. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, Rumble is for live streams. I was trying to figure out how the hell I can bring this over to Rumble, but it's like I'm using the YouTube streaming tab, and YouTube doesn't have a RNTP thing. But I'm thinking about doing the wrestling streams over on Rumble because I don't think no, not even I don't think. I know for a fact YouTube is just gonna go after me. I see everybody can do commentary. They can showcase wrestlers and all kinds of stuff and things like that. And when I decide to do commentary, which I have it in the description, it's a commentary channel, and I do long form commentary, not short form, you know, long form commentary. YouTube, they don't give a damn. Just because it's me, we got to take this down. Oh, we got to interrupt this stream. Oh, we got to terminate the stream. Oh, we got to, as if they don't hear me talking. Like I will pause something and we'll be talking for like 30 minutes. And the AI is not smart enough to detect that I'm talking. Okay. Okay. Everybody can be a YouTuber, but certain people and stuff like that. And let me tell y'all something, man, because people think YouTube is easy. YouTube sort of can be easy if you're not being put through hell like I am. Every few months I get put through hell on YouTube, you know. So please, if you guys could definitely support the show, you know, that would be perfect. Cause just the crap I gotta go through just to even just exist. And I'm telling y'all, if you're a YouTuber and you're starting off or you going through hell with YouTube also, I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's it's harder to be a small YouTube channel than it is to be a big one. Pause. I don't know, something about that sounded homo. I don't know why. But it's harder to be a smaller YouTube channel than it is to be a big one, you know? And more genuine people you will find on smaller YouTube channels to the point that even YouTube is trying to push smaller channels. It sure feel like it, man. It sure feel like some fat feminist is screwing with me. But I wanna let her know. I mean, and you know what's funny? You know what I saw came up that keeps coming up, and I got this pre-record that I'm putting together because I'm learning that I just gotta put out videos every day. And I'm batch recording, and I'm preparing to do that. So y'all be prepared. When they start messing with my live streams, just double up on the pre-records. So hopefully you guys support the pre-records. But this is what I want to say. I saw. I forgot the woman's name now that I want to mention it, which is textbook Cuda. I always forget. Um, that woman that was a man. She tried to be a man and she went undercover as a man a couple of years ago. Rest in peace to her. Cause I remember when I covered it extensively on the show. But I also remember, when I first saw that woman attempting to be a man, and she was talking about it, and I don't even know how the hell her ass did it. These biological niggas can't do it in these damn spaces. She said she went on 30 dates. She went on 30 dates. I said, well, shit, that's about eight. I don't know how she got 30 women to go out with her, but good for her. But that's even worse. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know. That's how you know she was dropping the game. That's how you know she was thorough. Because if she went out on 30 dates with women and stuff, and she was like, women have no clue or earthly idea how it is to be a man, and she's confirmed stuff that I've been saying for years. Like women can't even conceptualize, and their emotion is in the way with that, but they can't even conceptualize giving up what it is to be a woman for another set of cards that they don't know how to read, another deck of cards. They can't take their mind out of it. And she she got a taste, not even a good taste, you know. She got a taste of what men go through and she couldn't handle it. It was like Frieza getting hit with that spirit bomb from Goku. She just couldn't handle it. It overwhelmed her into oblivion, you know. And um it was one point that I saw she went out on a date with a woman, and when the woman found out she was a woman, the other woman did something that you'll never see bitches do to men. That woman, when she found out that she was on a date with another woman, she immediately apologized. She took accountability. That's the crazy part. And this is back when women took accountability, sort of. But she immediately apologized for being a bitch to her and full of shit. She was like, "Oh my God, you're a woman. Oh my God, I apologize for being such a bitch." I said, "Damn." And it's something that I've known and talked about for years and years and years and years and years about how women know what the fuck they're doing. They know what they're doing and beyond, you know? It was something very interesting that I learned, being a young player, that they know what the fuck they're doing and they're just running a series of bitch tests just for the sake of running a series of bitch tests. Like, they don't even know why they're running these bitch tests like this. But you know what the funny part is that a player knows? Is that you know that they don't know. That's man. Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go on Rumble for this one. This gotta, I'm gonna have to rejuvenate the Patreon because that that little nugget that I'm giving y'all right there, that knowledge as a man, if you want to choose to exploit that, because dudes always be trying to add their little bullshit logic to shit, and it's like, bro, it doesn't work. It falls flat because women aren't thinking like that. And logically, men are going to say the stupidest shit. Well, why don't they think like that? They would if they probably were men, sir. But that little nugget that I'm giving you right there, that women don't even know why they're shit testing you, gives you the key to troll the fuck out of them and have a ton of fun. A ton of fun. Because you can even start to categorically pick the shit test that they're going to use, and you already know the shit test that they're going to use and beat them to it. Whether it's an attitude, whether it's a line of questioning, or whether it's like what my brother Warmaster in the chat says, they enjoy hating men. Because that is the absolute truth. They do. They do. It's a pastime. It's like a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage. What they call it, Warmaster, misandry on purpose. Misandry on purpose. You know, interesting. Very interesting. Very suspicious. Very interesting. I gave y'all a little bit of game. Yeah. They don't even know why they're shit testing you for the most part. And like I've said before, you know, um, God, I love women. I understand them. I know why they shit test. A lot of a lot of them don't know why. They don't know. And honestly, to tell you the truth, some shit tests that they do, it don't matter if you pass or fail. A woman will still sleep with a man a woman will still sleep with a man to a certain degree that she somewhat lost respect for. She'll still lay down with the man. I was over on Sarah's show. Shout outs to Sarah, aka the Raging Tomato, and she had Kings and Dreams over on her show. And I hate to say it, I was up working, and right before um I got on, he got off, and I wanted to add to it, and it was a nice little show. I mean, you guys could probably head over there and check it out. Shout outs to the Raging Tomato. But and they try to make it seem like it was some weird creepy shit, but it's not. You know. I was telling the guys there because he was talking about social media and stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't know why guys make it, rocket science and make it pause, harder for themselves. But you know, um, you can just get a woman's Instagram nowadays. That's like low effort, high reward type shit in today's dating society. Just get a woman's Instagram. I don't know why y'all go out of y'all way asking for a phone number and stuff like that. And like I've said, and like somebody pointed out too in the chat earlier today, that it's like the phone number has become the social security number. You know what I'm saying? The phone number damn near has become like a social security number. You know, I think phone numbers are extinct, but maybe I've been abroad for too long. But the phone number is basically a social security number. It's like a mailbox, to tell you the truth, personal mailbox. You know, getting a Instagram is low risk. That shit is low risk, and they couldn't really understand it. They're like, "Oh, so you're stalking that person?" It's like, no, that's not stalking somebody if your Instagram is public. And some of the stuff that we talked about on the show, that there's no such thing as privacy anymore. But that's not low. That's not stalking nobody, honestly. But what I was saying is that all the goofball questions that you're gonna ask is going to be answered on that Instagram. And it's to the point where, I read this by a lot of Gen Z cats and they don't like it. We want to talk about it. They don't like it. And the reason why they don't like it is because I get it to a certain degree. It stops you from having a fantasy about that woman. And more so, not just having a fantasy about that woman, it stops you from projecting your own bullshit onto that woman. Lo and behold, me telling you guys that the internet has raised you know what I'm saying, your dating pool. It's raised everybody's dating pool. And there was a gentleman on there. Actually, he kind of was on there, kind of going off to just like I was, kind of somewhat of a subject matter expert. And you know what, y'all? He said something to me that was actually interesting because a lot of those guys was on there, and even Sarah was talking about being in the top 10% of men and all that goofy shit. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but that shit is goofy. You know, a man shouldn't be running around here trying to live in the top 10% of men when it comes to women. He should do that if he wants to do that for himself. You know, um, and half the stuff they were talking about, I could combat all of it because I've done the research and put in the field work and put in the hours. Just on these shows. I have an elite amount of knowledge. You know, I'm a professor with this shit, which is crazy. But lesbians and dykes, they thwart half these talking points and percentage, you know, conversations and hypergamy conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas are so weird. They on here talking about hypergamy all day. What about when a woman dates another woman? That's not hypergamy. And I'm not gonna say that it's necessarily dating. It's not necessarily dating down nor up, but like, come on now, come on now. Now, what he said to me, which was interesting, right? Because he had a nice uh comment when I said that everyone's dating pool rose with the internet. He said, so did the rejection. And I sat there, y'all, and I thought about it for a good second. I took in the information that he said. He's like, if everybody's dating pool rose, so did the rejections. Because he was talking, because the title of the show was talking about has, social media or like dating, apps ruin men. And I'm like, oh, this is my wheelhouse. I talk about this extensively on the show, you know. And he said that a lot of the guys don't know how to purport themselves on the internet, which is something that I've said millions of times. And I'm like, that's true. And I commended him because I never heard somebody rebuttal with that type of rebuttal out of the years that I've been saying that everybody's dating pool rose with the internet. That so does the rejection. And as somebody that's talked to hundreds, maybe thousands of women, I'm pretty sure I'm in the thousands, but I'll be modest and say hundreds. Um, I will say this: I've experienced an abnormal amount of rejection because that's what I and the wingman and some of the wing women that I know. That's what I was doing. You know, it was to a point where I was running around like a pickup artist, and then it was to a point where I became mature, and not necessarily mature, but I learned how to blend in and do pickup artists and player shit, operating as a square. You know what I'm saying? Operating as a square, and then not even a square. I've learned how to utilize those tools and those things to honestly be able to regress back into a square and live a decent, beautiful life without having a chip on my shoulder and worried about certain things. That's why I'm laughing at a lot of the brothers today. Not even just laughing at them. Not even laughing. It's just like corny, it's goofy. What I'm saying is that I understand the level of rejection that a lot of these brothers are complaining about, but the average man or the person complaining about it never experienced that level of rejection. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced it because I ran towards it. I've experienced it because I embraced it. You know what I'm saying? I've embraced rejection, you know? It's some way on you more than others, to tell you the truth, right? But when he asked that question, immediately the game kicked in. I told him yes, but there's more selection than rejection. It's to the point where if 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 you're not ready for certain things, yeah, you're gonna feel that rejection. And yeah, you may jump out the game for a little bit. Cause hold on, y'all. Okay, yeah. You're gonna feel that rejection. And you may jump out the game a little bit because that rejection might, you might take it to heart, to tell you the truth. That happens. You know, allow, that happens. Allow yourself to be rejected. That happens. It's not really a testament on you, to tell you the truth. But like I told him, you're gonna get selected more than you're going to get rejected. And the crazy part about it all is that the dating pool on the internet has risen so much that you won't feel the rejection like that, especially if you're online, or you shouldn't feel it as much, you know. Your options should override people that weed themselves out of your your dating options. But what I did reassure him and tell him that that was a great observation that he made. Um, I told him that yeah, a lot of those guys will face rejection because they don't know how to purport themselves on social media. Let's keep it 100. The average guy is not a content creator. I mean, he is, but he isn't. Let's keep it 100. When you set up your Tinder profile, you should only have like 3 to 4 pictures, and those should be 3 to 4 pictures of specific things. Let's keep it 100 that your profile should damn near, if you don't know what to put in your profile to catch women, don't really have your profile figured, don't really have your profile filled out, and funnel them more towards, your pictures. Have them, force them kind of to go look at your pictures. You know. Also, too, you got to be kind of tongue in cheek. What is your communication style when messaging someone? Also, too, on top of that, those websites aren't even set up for men. I mean, they're set up for men, but those websites make men worse because the irony of dating on the internet with Twitter and you know um Twitter and OK Cupid and Scout and all of these other goofball platforms. The irony in it is that as a man, it's supposed to make you feel some type of way that you're not supposed to feel. And what do I mean by that? It simulates work that you never put in that could probably get you results that you normally wouldn't get. You understand what I'm saying? And I know this because, you know, um, I physically had to get up and go to the club, not to DJ, to go get women and game and not game women, but 'cause there's a difference between having game and running game. Um, but doing routine, whether it was to tighten up my conversation, or whether it was to get a woman, drink and have fun. Some days I'm like, you know what? It started off, I'm going out and I'm gonna tighten up my conversation. I run into a baddie, next minute we back at my house. You know, happens like that. You know, um, but what I'm saying is that I had to physically show up, and a closed mouth didn't get fed. I mean, what I had to pull was what I had to pull. What does a site like Tinder and Facebook dating and all of those sites do? And what some of these pop the balloon shows and these 20 versus 1 do, they make you swipe left and right. Now, why is that a problem with social media and the internet? Well, I'll tell you why it's a problem. Because as a man, you didn't approach those women. Those women just found their way onto your screen. And a man doesn't question it because guess what? It strokes his ego. It strokes his ego. The fucked up part is that those websites, and to a certain degree, if you don't know what to do and how to maneuver them, those websites will quickly destroy your self esteem. And you don't even know why. You would need to get on the internet and have somebody from YouTube or Facebook to tell you why. And I'll tell you why. Y'all hit the like button, support the show, dropping knowledge. Giving y'all some real good game. Let me tell you why. Half those women that's on those social media sites, you would have walked right past them in real life. If not all of them, thousands of them. You would have walked right past them in real life. Even the undesirable one, it fucks up your ego because it makes it seem like you approached them or they approached you. And you're like, ooh, no. And it's goofy. Remember, I told you I got rejected hundreds of times. You learn a lot of different things while getting rejected. Some women will reject you, and when you put it together, this is not you being an asshole. This is not you feeling yourself. You thought I was feeling you? This is not you feeling yourself. This is you knowing and realizing that certain women that will reject you will let you know for sure, and you'll realize that, like, damn, you really thought, like it's like you really thought you had a chance, or damn, I kind of, was giving you a chance, you know. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. If you guys can hear me. Shout outs to everybody in the building. Please double tap the like, double tap the screen. Shout outs to everybody in the building. Please double tap the screen for the like button. Please support the show. All right, I should be back. Um, what I was saying is that when you get rejected, sometimes and a lot of times, honestly, you're just approaching somebody. They're a stranger, and I'm not telling you to judge, but you will be getting rejected by women that are beneath you. And I'll teach you a valuable lesson. And it could stroke your ego, to tell you the truth. It could stroke your ego getting rejected by women that are lesser than you because sometimes it's not rejection don't even hurt, honestly, after a while. Rejection is over fucking rated, bro. I'm telling you some real shit. Like, look to be rejected. That was one of the gambits that we would use as pickup artists. We tried to get rejected, you know? and saw how corny it was for certain women to have the audacity to tell you no. And it wasn't a righteous no, you know? And the reason why I said it wasn't a righteous no was because it's not like a no where you felt entitled to that woman. That woman could do whatever the hell she want to do. No, yes, maybe so. Eject, gotta go. She could do whatever the hell she wanted to do. She could say whatever the fuck she wanted to say to get away from you. That's that's her right. Why do you feel some type of way? You know? Now, I will tell you when rejection actually really does hurt. If you know her a little bit, you kind of got to know her story. You think about her all the time, you low key crushing. She's probably a co-worker, somebody that should tell you no in the first place. But you spent extensive time around her. Um, Maybe 1 week you thought you were spending quality time with her, or maybe you've actually spent quality time with her. Those no's hurt a little bit. I ain't even gonna hold you. Those hurt. Those can suck. You know. And I don't think less of a guy that feels some type of way if he got rejected from a woman in that circumstances. Take your day, maybe a week. Depending how long you want to feel depressed about the situation, and get over it. I'd say that. You know, I've been there for friends that been going through stuff like that. That's just the nature of it. You know, but it makes it seem like you have a choice that you really don't have. And like I said, like when you get rejected by women that are lower than you, it's not even you feeling yourself. It's you saying that, dang, OT, I'm gonna tell you some real shit. I'm the best thing that happened to you. Not even just today, probably in your life. You know how I said that, Shannon Sharp and a couple of those guys have no business tricking certain type of, they got no business, spending certain type of money on women. Well, guess what? Certain women have no business telling certain guys no, but it happened. And guess what? That's accepted in the game. That's accepted. That's an accepted trait that's in the game. Certain women are going to tell you no, and you need to expect them telling you no. Nothing wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with women telling you no. Black pill in the situation, right? Some of them get their rocks off for telling you no. Again, not every no you're gonna hear is righteous. But when you have a social media and or like a Tinder account, or like one of those dating accounts, swiping right and swiping left gives you the illusion as if that person had a chance with you, or you had a chance with that person. So if you swipe, what, left is good, right is wrong, or some shit like that, I'll be forgetting. But if you swipe on an undesirable woman, that's cheap dopamine right there. Because that woman is not in your life. What's going on, Cap? That woman is not in your life. That woman would probably never approach you, even though she's undesirable, or quote unquote less attractive. That woman would have never approached you. And even the unicorns and the stallions and the baddies that's on a lot of those D League and E League websites, um, in real life, y'all would just walk past each other. To be honest, In real life, y'all would just walk past each other. And if you see a somewhat unattractive woman on there, because like women got rid of the appraisal system, average women and feminists. If you see a less attractive woman on there and you swipe right, it's like, okay, you didn't approach her honestly in real life, and she didn't approach you honestly in real life. Some dudes will feel like they accomplished something by telling her no, and it's like, nah, bro, you didn't accomplish anything by telling that woman no. And as unattractive as you probably might think she is, um, she's not thinking about you. Funny thing is that there's a method on all of those websites to just say yes to every woman, and that's like in the game we call that maximizing mode. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, and it all depends on how you want to play the game. You can swipe, right or good on damn near every woman, because it really don't matter. What really matters is if they say something. You swiping right or accepting a woman that you're not attracted to. A lot of guys will be like, "Ooh, why would I do that? I'm not attracted to her." And it's like, why wouldn't you do that? You're not really talking to her. She's not really talking to you. Like, until that woman takes it to the next level and jumps in your inbox and says, "Hey," and even then you don't got to respond anyway, there's no problem. But see, the male ego will be like, "Ugh, she ugly. I wouldn't. Why would I swipe on? Ooh, I'm not attracted to her. Why would I swipe right?" Oh, okay. See, what a lot of y'all don't understand is how those websites work. You'll get put in the algorithm with more women that match with you. The funny part is that when you I guess when you swipe left, I guess I don't know, or right. I don't know which one is bad and wrong. I'll be forgetting. But with those websites, right? The funny part is that you will accept a subpar chick that you see that's probably been on your page or check out your page, and guess what? Y'all don't even match. That's the funny part. Y'all don't even match. You will accept her, and she won't accept you. You know. As a matter of fact, those are the women that's benefiting off of Tinder and OkCupid and all of those D League and E League websites. Because remember, Instagram, Snapchat, and even those girls go down to those D League and E League websites to monetize men and do all kinds of different stuff. They like to be the big fish in the small pond. That's what we call it. You know, why would a beautiful baddie from Instagram go over to OkCupid or whatever? Because she's gonna be the big fish in the small pond. She don't really have competition. And a lot of the guys that got shit going on that really don't feel too well about themselves, they hang out on those websites also. In the game, I used to call it the clearance rack of the dating game. It's like going to the clearance rack at Walmart or Marshalls. Like you'll find you a nice little T-shirt in that bin, but it's like a bullet wound. It's a bullet hole in that T-shirt, or somebody try to steal it, and the little thing that they ripped off of it left a hole in it or something, or the shirt got stepped on or something like that. You know, you gotta convince yourself you buying Kanye West clothes and shit. You know. You said, "Hey, this is the Z is the Zeal Sound USB." You said, "Hey, is the Zeal Sound USB mic a good mic?" I don't know. I don't know about Zeal Sound. There's so many little goofy weirdo companies out there. Um, do your research on it. But I mean, a lot of USB mics are pretty good, but a lot of them are gonna be condenser. So what I would say is to be somewhat in a treated room so that you don't have a lot of room reverb. You know, because even with dynamic mics and stuff like that, you're gonna get a certain amount of room reverb. The thing is that when you get a mic like that, you don't want to get too much room reverb, you know? And a lot of you guys are gonna be using that mic to like, stream and do all kinds of different stuff. So, it kind of defeats the even though it sounds good, it picks up the sound well. It defeats the purpose on having a condenser mic to do podcasting if you're not going to go back and edit, or if you're not going to use a gate or run that mic through a series of gates or compressors or something like that. So, you said they got hella views. I just want to play music and talk with it for Clubhouse. I would say, because I'm using a phone mic right now. I'm using a lavalier mic at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of just chilling. I'll show you. Yeah, my ugly ass. I'm using a phone mic right now at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I had it hooked into my beard, But you know, um get like a small lavalier mic, man. You better off with that because it rejects sound and stuff like that. If it's like a big microphone, figure out how you gonna patch it in the Clubhouse, my guy, because like I said, you're gonna have to be on your phone. And honestly, I know how to run full radio shows on my phone, and it sounds like I'm on a computer when really I'm on my phone. But you got to get like accessories and stuff like that, and you got to learn how to patch in audio. I talk about it all the time. You got to learn how to patch in audio. You know, so if you want to do like a radio thing and play music and stuff like that, like I said, take my advice. Get you like a MP3 player or something that you can play music with. I've recommended the Zoom P4. Get you a Zoom P4. Get you a microphone cable, or it's better to get you a cable because Bluetooth and stuff runs out. Like this microphone that I got right now is Bluetooth. At some point, it's gonna run out. Thank God I got two. And you get you a microphone cable, and you get you a dynamic mic, and basically you get you some headphones, and everything that you're hearing in that P4, that's what your audience is going to be hearing. So you just make sure your levels are right, and you got a third channel where you can run your MPC. So you get an aux cord, and you run your MPC I'll say your MPC your MP3 player into it, or wherever you're sourcing your music from, and that's how you gonna do it. I've been doing this for a long time. Y'all hit the like button to support the show. I'm dropping some gems on today's show, man. Giving y'all some game, saving y'all some moolah. You know, make sure y'all support the show. Hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, hit the coffee store. YouTube is stopping me from streaming, so now I just gotta lay down in my bed, be depressed, and still try to give y'all a good show, despite how I'm feeling about it. You know, you said that's what I'm trying to do, but that shit sounds like I got two phones side by side. That shit is terrible. Yeah, you gotta patch in your your sound. You know, that's what you got to focus on. You got to patch in your audio. That's why a lot of guys don't know how to use their cameras. They don't know how to use certain things because they don't know how to patch it in. You want to patch it in. You know. So me, what I have to do, let me show y'all. What I have to do is I have to get an adapter like this. You see this? You see how it has a headphone cable? You see how it has a lightning? And you see that camera cable? I got to use that camera cable that has a USB on the bottom of it and make sure I plug in the phone, and hopefully there's no static from the phone. I got to use that. My bad. Damn. The mic was away from me, but hopefully you could hear what I'm saying. I got to use that to patch in the sound, or at least run the sound and reroute the sound into that. Or if you don't have an adapter to do all of that, I'm going to give you some more game on how to patch the sound into that. You got to get you and let me see. Y'all hit the like button and support the show. And I'm actually giving y'all some secrets right here. This is why a lot of people have problems with their audio. Yeah, I'm giving you a big old secret right here. Because nobody never thinks of this. I'm about to save you some more money. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Let's see if I can find it. Where the hell did it go? Because I was just using it earlier today. Okay, well, I guess I can't find it. Oh, it's over here. Find my other lavalier mics. Show y'all something. Ugh. All right. Or your device or your phone. Okay? The aux cord is meant and receive audio. Okay? That's what those two bands are for left ear and right ear. Okay? Now, for stereo sound, and you can see one with one band, which I have, but I'm not going to show it to you. But it's for mono. That's on one channel, whereas this is stereo. Okay? Now, your phone. If your phone is receiving sound, you can use this and this could probably work. So you'll have a mixer and you'll have your headphones plugged into your mixer. I don't know why I didn't get my mixer when I got up and went over there and got it. But anyway, you'll have your headphones plugged into your mixer and you can send the sound from this USB port from a headphone port in your mixer because a headphone port literally is just it sends sound. Okay. But sometimes your phone won't receive the sound that you're sending into because instead of getting a USB port and attaching that to your phone and then probably risking your phone getting static or having static in your sound, or your phone is taking up too much battery trying to run your mixer, your external mixer that you got, or your phone is not powerful enough to run that mixer, or the adapter that you're using has static or it destroys your phone to run that mixer, right? What you can do is get one of these. Have that mixer running from a source. You get one of these, right? And the technical term for this is called a TRS cable, but people know it as an aux cable. It's called a TRS cable. Well, how it works is if you see there's a difference between these two cables versus these other two cables that I showed you guys. That's like a regular aux cord. These are a TRS cable, okay? Stereo, left and right, the black bands, left and right. This one is called a TRS cable, right? To TRRS cable. Is the R for? The R is to record, okay? When you go and buy like headphones or like some skull candies or like some headphones for your phone, a lot of times you will see that it will have this attached onto it. And if you notice, this one has 2 bands and this one has 3 bands. So if you want to send audio into your phone and you want to patch clean, good audio sound and you know and all that good stuff into your phone, music and stuff like that, you're gonna need one of those 2 cables. I will advise you to get both. So the reason why you want to do that is because you wanna attach clean sound into your phone. And maybe if you're running recording software onto your phone, you want to be able to, record into your phone. You want to be able to record what you're doing into your phone, you know? Oh my shout outs to War Master as always. Supporting the game, dropping the huge $20 on the Cash App. War Master says, I sent a search parties out for Cuda's Xbox. Man, listen. I'm putting in overtime this week. I'm actually in like 10 minutes. I actually have to go teach a class soon. And I'm trying to make y'all, I'm trying to make 825 come this next payday. I'm trying to go to the mall and go get an Xbox, and I'm trying to I've been working like a dog, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I've been working like a dog. I'm like, man, let me just pull this extra overtime. I'm trying to, just grind, grind. So hopefully, if everything goes well, I'm gonna have 825. Hopefully by the 16th of May. Because like I said, I've been telling War Master. I'm like, man, look, we about to get back into it. Tears.
I'm gonna actually let this comment go. You have to be a fucking idiot. You have to be a fucking idiot. I am in my house, bro. In a foreign country. I am in my house. Talking niggas still live with mommy. Shut your stupid ass up. Shut your dumb ass up. I am still in my house. I am still in my house, alright? Relax. Okay? Let me show y'all something. Fucking idiot. And I didn't choose the curtains, dumbass. Niggas ain't gotta prove shit to your goofy ass. Shut your dumb ass up. You can tell niggas still live with mommy. Shut up. I'm not even home. Now I'm on my balcony. I'm not even home. I'm not even home. How the hell do I live with mommy? Who live with mommy? I'm not even home, you idiot. I'm in a foreign country, dumbass. Bro, niggas on YouTube is stupid as shit. Niggas on YouTube, you can tell who live with mommy. Shut your stupid ass up. Shut your dumb ass up, man. Shut your dumb ass up. Fucking idiot. You can tell who live with mommy. Shut up. Nigga, I'm in a whole foreign country talking about so you can tell who live with mommy. Shut your stupid ass up. Say one more thing. Say one more thing and see if my mods don't give your ass a lift up out of here. You can tell who dumb as fuck. That's who you can tell. You can tell who live with mommy, but the curtain. Shut your stupid ass up, nigga. I ain't choose these curtains, bitch. And I ain't gonna change them neither. Cause I don't know how to get that shit off that thing up there. I didn't choose these curtains, you know? Right. You know what I'm saying? Plus this the room that I got my stew in. You can tell who live with mommy. Shut your stupid ass up, man. Damn. That's why I said like niggas on here are dumb as fuck. And then niggas talk like they rich. Niggas, all right, show me the Bentley, nigga. Where your mansion at? Where your mansion at? Niggas be living with their damn grandma talking about some you could tell who live with mommy. Shut up. Anyways, like I said, shout outs to everybody here. We about to get back on our video game tip. You know what I'm saying? All the games that I was playing on my phone, I had them on the Xbox too. So be prepared to see some Final Fantasy 7. Be prepared to see, just be prepared. Like Scar said, be prepared. We about to be back on the video game tips. I'm tired of talking to dumbass nigga like Tears. This nigga's screen name is Tears. Up here worried about who niggas live with and shit. You know. You can tell who live with talk about some mommy and daddy. Fuck out of here, man. Yeah, man. That's the world that we live in. So I appreciate you, War Master. I appreciate Nicer. I appreciate Link. I appreciate my audience. I appreciate everybody that come through. Big Cat, Raven, LT man, everybody that come through, Brownie, Ellie, you know. Shout outs to Jay Green. I appreciate, Toy, everybody, that come through. Y'all are right. I'm gonna definitely change subjects, cause I ain't gonna lie. For the past and last couple of years, I've been attracting dumbasses. You can tell who live with mommy. I've been attracting dumbasses, man. You know, that's what these manosphere topics will do.
It'll attract a gang of dumbasses. Fucking idiot. Niggas be like, "Yeah, he's in Thailand." No, I am not in Thailand. That's how small brain a lot of guys in this space are. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let me go back to doing video games because there's a lot of fake nerds here. Shit, me, War Master, Star P, a couple of guys here. We the real video game nerds. You know, me and War Master, we be having epic back and forths about actual hardware, tech, consoles, sound. Shit, we make nerds look cool at this point, War Master. You said phone games aren't games. I used to think the same thing. Trust me. I would never touch a phone. Like even when the N gauge and all of that shit was running, I would never touch a phone game. You know, phone games to me was like Snake, maybe Tetris and stuff like that. But I am telling you, phone games came a long fucking way. And then now you can Bluetooth your Xbox and PlayStation controllers to your phone and turn it into something completely different. Your phone can be in your pocket and you just have your controller in your hand, hopefully it's charged, and just do your thing, you know? You know? Shit. Man, look, phones and tablets are on a completely different level these days. You know, I never thought phones and tablets would go this far, but I knew it was coming. You know, I could gauge it, and know it was coming. But yeah, I used to think the same way until and I'm looking for an emulator. If y'all could find me a PlayStation 2 or a PS1 emulator on the phone, oh my god, oh my god, like that girl with her wig fell off. Oh my god. If y'all can find me an emulator, y'all, because I want to play Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. I got some PlayStation games that I need to go find. You know, I got some PS2 games that I need to go find. And if you can find me an Xbox emulator, oh my God, y'all will never get rid of me with this video game. If you can find me a Xbox emulator, the first Xbox, oh my God, I want to play Jet Set Radio Future. I want to play Sega GT. And maybe Project Gotham and some other shit, some old Xbox games. I would thank you guys to the heaven if you guys can find me an Xbox emulator that I can play all of those games on my damn phone. Because I will do it, or figure out a way to get it on a old ass tablet or something. I'm telling you, I listen, listen. All these adapters, I'm gonna put this shit to work. What I'm saying is this. Listen. You said if it doesn't need a controller or a mouse, it's not a game. Yeah. Hey, I was talking to one of my students, and they were talking. They said that Nintendo is dropping something by the end of this week, probably today because it's Friday. I got to see what Nintendo is doing by the end of this week. I know PlayStation dropped like this handheld console, but I was looking at it, or for what I saw, it's ass. Because like it's not backwards compatible and you can't play certain games and it doesn't have certain things that a console, even a handheld console coming out nowadays should have. But I don't know. It's like a step down from the Vita. But yeah, handheld consoles are good though. I used to think that way also. But you got Game Boys, you got handheld consoles. You got even crazy consoles that you could turn your phone sideways and put them shits in. And the Xbox emulator is called the Xbox app. I could what? Okay.
Okay, as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna load up the Xbox app and see what I can do with the Xbox app. So I can use my Xbox controller and use the Xbox app. Please don't tell me that's the case. Please don't tell me that's the case. Oh my God. Oh my God. That will hold me and sedate me until I run down to this mall and go grab another Xbox. I'm turning into War Master Junior, bro. This about, I'm about to be running through Xboxes like shit. War Master's like he's coming up on his 10th Xbox, so I don't feel that bad. Oh my God. Please don't play and tell me that the app. He said I bought Galaga with my what? Okay, I just gotta remember my password. I gotta remember my password. Microsoft been putting its foot in my ass with emails and shit like that. I got like I got probably like 5 Microsoft Outlooks because every time I log in, I forget I'm tired of putting in passwords. I'm locked out of all my emails. Um, this is horrible, y'all. This is horrible. Passkey don't work for me. Nothing works. All right, download an Xbox app in 5, 4, 3, 2. Whiz on Galaga. You know a game I heard they're resurrecting too, y'all? They're resurrecting Metroid. I want to see how that works. I wonder if they're gonna turn Samus into a baddie, because that's what needs to happen. But anyway, I got a class at 7:15 p.m. It's 6:52 right now. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for rocking with Player Talk Radio. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to get back on streaming. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to cam my ugly ass up on my goddamn YOLO box. Okay. If anything, y'all don't trip. I'm gonna have to cam my ugly ass up on my YOLO box. I wish I had a more up to date YOLO box. I have the old first generation one. I'm surprised it still works. That thing be glitching like shit, and the battery does whatever the hell it wants to do. But I wish I had a mixer. But if anything, I will have to probably use an external mic or whatever, or just basically talk to you guys like this while the video game's playing in the background. That's literally kind of what I was gonna do anyway. But I would like to have the video game sound turned down in the background or something like that. You know, I want to at least be professional. Oh, I heard that too. Yeah, I heard Doom got remade. Actually, you know what's funny? Remember I was telling you, War Master, before I get up out of, remember I was telling you that I need to do what you said and get a big ass screen because I was somewhat learning how to code, and I don't, because I'm learning how to code on my phone a little bit, right? I don't like coding at all. That's the part that's kicking my ass before I get my certification is the coding part, is like running prompt and stuff like that, because you got to learn like different like coding language like string, and then you got to learn like with the quotations, and then you got to learn like with the parentheses, and then the like the like coding is like I don't like it, you know. So I've downloaded like a fuckload of like games and stuff on my phone just to get around to it, to kind of somewhat understand it. Even I download this kids game. I deleted it because I ain't gonna lie, they were charging a ridiculous amount per month. I'm like, nigga, I'm trying to learn how to code, not take on another bill, bro. I'm just trying to learn how to code, bro. You know. So I'm like using a bunch of free resources and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of people are switching over to Linux. They don't like iOS, and they don't like Mac, and they don't like PC, so they're switching over to Linux, which involves coding, a lot of coding too.
And a lot of people are using Python and SQL, right? And I fucking hate coding. I don't know why. It just seems like math to me, and it seems like a lot. Maybe with time I'll get used to it, but I don't like coding. But it is a skill that you gotta have, right? So what would make it better, y'all, is having a big ass, yeah. Game Pass is fucking fire. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. It's a steal, you know. But I just think a bigger screen will help me better with coding. You know, and maybe I'm tripping because I'm looking at it on a small screen. I think I need to download something for a tablet, and because I barely use my well, I do use my tablet. I use my tablet to study and read. But what was I about to say? I was talking about getting a monitor or a bigger screen. But look, I was talking about getting into coding, and guess what I found out, y'all? What a time to be alive, because everybody's using AI. And I've been using chat. I ain't gonna lie, I've been cheating on my test with Chat GPT, but Chat GPT taught me more than my test in a lot of cases, right? Actually, Chat GPT taught me a little bit more about coding than the actual certification that I'm going for. But let me tell y'all something real quick before I get up out of here. I learned that there's something out right now that you don't even have to code, and AI will do it all for you. Even though I think it's still I would still learn the basics of coding, or soak up the basics of coding. Um it's called vibe coding. That's the term for it. It's called vibe coding, and it's taken over. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'll have more information next time I go live, but it's called vibe coding. And that sounds about right. They're like, "Oh, you don't really have to code. Vibe coding is taking over." A lot of the coders don't, they don't they don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't like it cuz it's kind of like cheating, but it's better and more efficient. And I'm like, "Damn, that's shit. I'm gonna just start vibe coding, y'all." But look, before I even get up out of here too, you know how like in the manosphere, y'all, we got like red pill and blue pill. Well, they have the same thing with IT. They got red team and blue team. And like where I'm at right now, I'm like I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. Because definitely you can jump into IT and don't have to code. You can do AWS, which is like cloud, AWS. But I was about to say, a lot of people, I thought from what I'm learning, um, I was gonna join Blue Team, and what Blue Team is basically what I've been talking about, cybersecurity, and Blue Team is protecting something from hackers and threat actors and stuff like that, and phishing and pishing and smishing and vishing and all these other terms and stuff like that, and just like protecting stuff, right? And I thought about it the other day while I was studying. I'm like, man, I should go full evil. I thought about doing red team. I thought about doing red team. So I didn't know that a lot of people, what they will do is that they will hack like a router or a switch or something like that, or somebody's computer via their Wi-Fi, or sometimes too, y'all will find like a USB just laying around, or like a SD card or something like that. And for some reason, I think I was guilty of it a long time ago. but for some reason people will take that USB or that that card that they found laying around on the ground, and they will no homo, they will stick that shit in their computer just to see what's on it. You know what I'm saying? The files that's on it and stuff like that. And what it will do is it will download malware to your computer or something like that. And then some of them it'll download ransomware. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, right? Stuff that we heard of and stuff, right? Um, it'll download that. And I didn't know that some people uh hack other people's computer to mine Bitcoin and make a lot of fucking money. I'm like, damn. I don't know, y'all. I might have to see what the red team shit is about, right? So you know how we have blue pill, red pill, and then we have purple pill. Well, you got guys that there's a new term in IT now called purple team. You know what's going on, Chris G? There's a new term in IT called purple team, where and I guess it's like a mixture of red team and blue team. You know what I'm saying? Because you got guys that started off in blue teaming and then they end up going red team, you know? Like you got some companies that will try to strengthen their security on their, their computers and their technology and stuff like that. And they will literally hire employees to see if they can hack their system, you know? So I'm like at the point where I'm like, okay, after I get this, I'll definitely go this summer and get my cybersecurity plus CompTIA and maybe even get the A or the network and stuff. I don't think I want to do the trifecta, but if anything, I'll probably do that. But they got something called pen testing, penetration testing, pause, and other stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. I think if you're gonna do hacking, you're definitely gonna have to know coding or gear. I don't think you can vibe code and hack at the same time. But who knows, y'all? It's Player Talk Radio. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Shout outs to everybody here. Thank you guys for supporting the show. I'm gonna try to get our live stream back up. I wanted to talk about Myron on on Anton Daniels' show, and I wanted to go back into the podcast where Myron was on the college campus and talking to a bunch of the college students and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting. But it's like taking candy from a baby and stuff like that. So I don't know. Y'all let me know. Where can you find very smart people in today's world? Some will say YouTube, some will say Instagram. I don't know. I would say you could find those people on Player Talk Radio because y'all are some of the most smartest people that I know. And I'm going to say this. I know I talk crazy, and some of the stuff that I say, it's not meant for my audience. I'm just saying this in general. Sometimes I speak for you guys also when I say some people are stupid. Because guess what? Some people are fucking stupid, you know? But my audience, Player Talk alumni, you guys ain't stupid, you know? You guys ain't stupid. And we all been smart for a long time now. Shout outs to Chris G, man. Make sure you get your CDL this year. We're rooting for you. You know what I'm saying? Um, and we all are a work in progress, you know? Um, And like I said, y'all make sure y'all cert up and definitely pick up something before 2030 because it's gonna be a different world as we know it. You understand? We got some politics to get into also. That might come with the Myron piece and stuff like that. So y'all look out for me. If anything, if worse comes to worse, we just gonna fire up this YOLO box and we just gonna run the show like a podcast. Y'all get to see my ugly ass face and we get to listen to the audio. We get to listen to the audio, and maybe I will point the phone towards the screen So I guess I'll have a in real life picture in picture. I don't know. I got a projector too, y'all, that I found in my luggage and stuff like that. So, I might even I need to get an adapter, but I might even have the projector playing on the screen behind me. We can make it fun. In my studio here, my little studio that I got here, I got a big ass white wall behind me. So, we can do picture in picture. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, trying to be a little bit creative with the little that I got. It's Player Talk Radio. I love you guys. Y'all be safe. Good morning. It's Player Talk, Mental Chewing Gum Podcast. Y'all hit the like button. Support the show on air, off air. You support the show because you care. Let's get it. Let's go.